Hello fellow cinenthusiasts, my name is Christina and welcome to another Let's Get Reels movie review. Today is Classic Movie Thursdays, my version of Throwback Thursdays. Today's movie I will be reviewing is the perfect pre-code Cleopatra from 1934. When I think of Cleopatra, I think of an outrageously intelligent person who used her sexuality to get what she wanted. How else could this woman attract powerful men like Julius Caesar and made him so weak with love it brought about his demise and brought Mark Antony to his own destruction? Watching Cecil B. DeMille's version of Cleopatra from 1934, you see this strong, intelligent, and very seductive woman come to life through Claudette Colbert. Now, I'm not going to go into a full summary of the story because you can Google it and you'll find all you need to know. Now, of course, this is dramatized like all the stories pretty much of Cleopatra throughout the years and the centuries and what have you. When I was young, I had this weird obsession with ancient Egypt. And Cleopatra was one of the stories that I always liked reading, and they're always dramatized like this movie, like the 1963 version of Cleopatra, and I guess that's why I adore this woman so much. She was a great woman from history. DeMille's Cleopatra is exactly how I picture the woman to be. Claudette Colbert was absolutely perfect as the main character because she had that very seductive look to her. She had that very 1930s pre-code look and sexual magnetism. You just see all this sexual confidence dripping out of her. As soon as she rolls out of the carpet, you know exactly what Cleopatra is aiming to do. And Claudette Colbert's Cleopatra kicks the ever-living crap out of Elizabeth Taylor's. With Elizabeth Taylor's version, I feel like she wasn't seductive enough. The acting wasn't really there, and the focus was more on her costumes and the background and everything, and there was all of these other actors who were much, much better than Elizabeth Taylor in that movie, so it took away from her. With Elizabeth Taylor's version of Cleopatra, I don't feel convinced enough that Julius Caesar and Mark Antony would die for her, would just bring about their own destruction. But with Claudette Colbert slinking around in costumes that barely left anything to your imagination, I believe that these men would just completely surrender themselves to her and bring about their own destruction. Claudette Colbert is much, much more convincing as Cleopatra. What also makes DeMille's version of Cleopatra so perfect is that it was a pre-code. And at the time, strong women were the focus of these movies. Women in general were just the focus of pre-code movies. And they got away with a lot of things. And Cleopatra was the perfect subject matter because it was risque. And at this time, the costumes could be a little bit more risque as well. So the costumes were as I said, they were barely there. Somebody even jokes in the movie asking how will Caesar get her top off, because it was all clasped and it was a little complicated, but really Claudette Colbert in one scene was just wearing barely a bra and then a skirt, and that was it. And I love that. I love the costumes in this movie. And my favorite one, really long green silk dress, and it's very much open up here, and it comes way, way far down in the chest past this area over here. And it's just gorgeous. Yet another thing I really, really like about this movie is the Art Deco sets. The movies during the 30s had that very sleek, gorgeous Art Deco look, and even though the costumes and the sets were in no way close to being historically accurate, it really just added to the whole sexuality, sexiness, what have you, to this story. I mentioned before as well, I really like the 1934 version better than the 63 version, especially when it comes to how the story is told. In DeMille's version, it was only the important details that were kept in, like the story between Cleopatra and Caesar, the story between Antony and Cleopatra. There wasn't filler, like the 1963 version. There wasn't that long scene of her in this procession down into the main part of Rome to the Senate. There wasn't any of that. They really didn't need it. What you needed was the story that everybody knew, that everybody had learned or read about, which was all this romantic love and dying for love thing. That is what I really, really like about this version, much more than the 63 version. It made the movie a lot more enjoyable to sit through, and I didn't feel like half of my life was gone. And I'm not trash talking the 63 version. I do think it is a cinematic masterpiece all around with the sets and clothing and direction and all that, but I like it when a story could just be stripped down to the bare essentials, but yet still be able to tell a really, really good story. And this is what I think the 34 version of Cleopatra was able to do so well. Cleopatra is one of the best movies to come out of the 1930s, with DeMille's direction and Claudette Colbert as this seductive, intelligent queen really leaves you on the edge of your seat besides all the action. If you can watch this movie in any way, I highly suggest it. Thank you for watching my review of the pre-code version of Cleopatra. If you like this movie in any way, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below so we can further discuss the movie, and subscribe for future Classic Movie Thursdays and other movie reviews. As always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.